Welcome to the FAM Podcast, the series where we dive deep into the journeys of the creators shaping our cultural landscape today. Today, we're privileged to welcome Daniella Faith, a singer, songwriter, and producer who has emerged as a powerful voice in the indie folk scene. Known for her pensive, vulnerable, and empowering performances, Daniella crafts songs that explore love, hope, and identity. Her music beautifully reflects both her upbringing in the church and her personal exploration of faith. From participating in NPR's Tiny Desk contest with her song Seven, to performing with So Far Sounds and at The Circle with Project Feel, Danielle continues to touch audiences with her authentic storytelling and musical gifts. Please welcome Daniella Faith. How's it going, Danielle?
Good.
So great to have you a few months back at our FAM events. So much of what we love to do here at 57 is be able to showcase artists in New York. But one of the things that I'm excited about is learning the story behind the performers. And so I'm really excited to learn more about you today as well. I want to take a step back and talk a little bit about your early beginnings. You grew up in New Jersey,
Yes.
and you described it as growing up in a very musically rich family. How did that environment shape your relationship with music?
I think for me, music was just, it always felt like an innate part of life. Um, and not even necessarily something to be pursued as like a career, but my whole family's always been musical. Growing up in church, definitely my first impression of music was as a means to communicate with God, or communicate with others about what was happening with God or what God was doing. Um, so it's definitely always felt like a freeing thing. Um, I think that's kind of how it's been shaped since I was young. I It used to be limited by like, I think the definition or like the conflation of like church and God and like making like just like congregational worship music. But as I've like gone through life and gotten older and healed, um, I realized that like that's in everything. Like everything is an expression of my life and my relationship to and with God. So that's kind of like
Yeah. What are some of your earliest musical memories? Was it in the church? Was it in your family?
earliest musical memories. Well, there's this one story that my parents tell me. Um, it was like I think I was upset with my mom. I was 3 years old, and I went into my parents' bathroom with my little guitar, and I started singing like, "Nobody in this house loves me. Nobody loves me." And then I left the bathroom, and they were like, "What were you saying?" And I was like, "You guys said like you don't need to know. You shouldn't know."
That's so
Um,
cute.
that and then I have this very vivid memory of maybe being like 5 or 6 or something, and we were singing the Star Spangled Banner in school, and I remember, like, singing it, but feeling like, "Ooh, I'm singing this right now." Like, I don't know, I feel like that was, like I gained consciousness of my
Yeah.
voice maybe in that moment.
Wow, that's a really powerful feeling.
Mm.
You mentioned playing the guitar in the bathroom. Was your voice your first experience as an artist, or was it more playing an instrument? Like, you are a guitarist and a singer-songwriter
Mm.
and a singer and songwriter. What sort of came first, or did they all kind of come together?
I think it all came together. Mind you, when I said I had the guitar in the bathroom, I was just like, like I had no theory or knowledge of like what it was happening. Um, so I'd say singing came first
And songwriting.
and songwriting always, yeah. Um, and then I took like some piano lessons when I was a kid, and I quickly stopped because the teacher just annoyed me a little bit. Like there's this one time, I think this was one of my last lessons, but he was like teaching me the keys, and then my parents came home with Burger King breakfast, which I don't know if you've ever had Burger King
Yeah,
breakfast, like the
definitely.
French toast sticks. Too good. And he
Dangerous.
dangerous. And he was like, "You have to finish your lesson." I was like, "This is my house." So I didn't last very long there. So I'm gonna say singing. Singing and
Yeah.
songwriting.
And then how
Yeah.
did the guitar sort of come into your world? I mean, you are a guitarist, and that is such a key part of your music. Just
Mhm.
different chord progressions, but more specifically, different voicings and the way
Mhm.
you play with voicings and harmonics on the guitar to match what you're singing and your melodies versus
Mm.
just playing just straight up normal chords. When did that relationship with the guitar develop?
Since I was young, I never consistently took lessons, but I like took some for a season, learned like the basic chords, like C, G, E, major, and then over time I would just look at chords or like the chords for songs on E chords, and then when I wanted to maybe express something that wasn't done, I would just like switch up the order, and then maybe like just the rhythm, and then I guess throughout the years without having theoretical knowledge of music, I learned to, like, explore new sounds with, like, tapping my fingers and, like, doing different plucking and
Mhm.
kinda just, like, releasing the rules of what that even means, um, for myself in my room. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't ask me how to what I'm playing sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
people ask me and I'm like, "Guys, I don't know.
As long as it sounds good,
It
right?
sounds good and it feels good."
And there's something freeing about, teaching yourself an instrument outside the context of lessons, which is
Mm,
very structured, that is useful for learning the thing, but can also trap you in a sense in a particular pattern and in a particular way of being.
yeah.
We were talking earlier with another friend the other day about m- an assignment he had from school, which was, write the thing that you're going to write, but then do it again and make it bad. And there's something about like purposely making it bad that frees you from this, sense of needing everything to be perfect.
Mm, mhm,
And there's something beautiful about that with your guitar playing as well. It's not about playing it perfectly, it's about playing it beautifully.
mm,
And those two things aren't exactly always, in alignment.
yeah.
Um, back to the church, because I think so much of that, you know, in your bio and history, so much of that seems to influence your songwriting and just your sound and your musicality today.
Mm.
As you have grown into your own voice, where do you see influences from that upbringing in the church, and where do you see yourself trying to break free of that?
I see it in terms of like, I guess musical freedom in terms of like flow. Just because I grew up in like CCM church, so like contemporary Christian,
Hmm.
soft rock, and um i- it's very likely that in like a service, people you just like freely start singing and whatever would come out would come out. Um, so I think that has influenced my music in terms of like I don't think of writing songs in song form, though I appreciate song form, it's great. And I've used it before. Like when I sit down with my guitar, it's kind of just like allowing whatever comes out to come out and then going from there.
Yeah.
It's more intuitive. Um, what else? I had another thing and I lost it.
I'm curious about your songwriting process. Do you typically start with a melody, a lyric, a chord progression? How does it come to you?
It depends. Sometimes I'll just be in my room and I'll wanna try out something new. I'll be bored of the progressions I've been playing. So I'll just start playing and then emoting, I guess, like, just, like, making sound, and maybe a word will come and I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, where's that leading me?" A lot of times I'll just be I'll hear somebody say a word in conversation,
Mm.
go on Google, look up words that are, like, synonymous with it, in relation to it, um, and then sometimes it'll be like, "Well, how does this, like how can I draw a parallel to this and something that's actually happening in my life or that I've observed in real life?" Um so my notes app is, like, full of a lot of, like, song seeds,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll go back to that and then put pieces together, but a lot of times I like to just if it's a made up rule in my head just for me, but, like, if I'm in my room, it feels, like, sacred to, like or not in my room, but if I pick up the guitar, it feels sacred to just, like, allow what's coming out in that moment to stick,
Hmm.
because it just feels like, "Well, this is for this song." Other times I'll sit down with the words I have and maybe, like, make something on my computer that feels aligned with those words. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I want to talk about your live performances a little bit,
Okay.
because that is an area where all this seems to come together. Your background performing in the church, your songwriting, and your ability to connect with an audience. You played at a fam event here a
Yes.
few months ago in front of a captivating audience in the
Yeah.
studio right here, and it was so quiet. People were so locked in. You could hear, people's breaths,
Mm.
right? When you're performing live, whether at a So Far Sounds or intimate venues, how do you approach connecting with an audience that might be experiencing your music live for the first time?
Um, I try to just approach it as I am in that day. As like that's one thing I learned from church is that music
Mm,
has always felt like we're doing this together. It's congregational. Like
yeah,
I'm here because you're here because I'm here, and we're gonna participate in this moment together. Um, so I try to just be like, hey, what's up? Like, my name is Daniella. This is what I do. I hope that I impart some sort of hope to you, can hold you during this time. And yeah, every single performance is different, not because like it's I'm trying, but because I think that's just the nature of live music. It's like we have no control, we have control, but it feels good to allow sound to be sound and myself to just be a vessel.
yeah,
Um, so I'd say like I love performing. It's really fun. It feels good to release. Also, in the moments when I perform, it's almost like I'm able to separate Daniella, the person that wrote the song and was feeling those emotions intensely, from like the person that's now like performing it.
yeah.
And I'm able to like really release. And yeah, there's certain performances where I'm like, oh, thank God, that was so good. And then other ones where people are like, that was so good. And I'm like, okay, I hope. Like I'm happy.
Yeah,
But I don't necessarily get the same like fulfillment from other ones. But I don't do it for self-gratification, and so that's, like, a discipline. It's like learning to it's like being obedient, like, just perform. You will feel it one day, you won't feel it the other day, that's, like, the ebb and flow of human emotion, but do it because this is what I have to give, so,
yeah.
yeah.
What are some of your most memorable performances?
Most memorable performances, let me think. I've played a lot of so-fars.
Mm-hmm.
I think I played over 50 so-fars, and
Wow.
so there's, like I'm like, there's definitely been so fars where I'm like, "Oh my god, that was amazing." And then, like, maybe 10 so fars later, I'm like, "Oh my god, this was the best so far I've ever played." Um, I'm trying to think. I One of my favorite performances, honestly, I really enjoyed playing here.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
I really, really,
That was
really
not a trick
enjoyed.
question, by the way.
No, no. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing here. I had, like, some friends come through. Um, I felt free
Yeah,
while performing, so that was good. It's like it's good when other people are like, they feel free, but it's like, I wanna feel free, you
yeah,
know?
totally.
Like, as a person, that's the desire, especially if I can capture that for myself in a
Yeah,
moment, like, oh, hell yeah. Um, some favorite perform I played Mercury Lounge, this past summer with, like, some really good friends. All my musicians that play in my band are, like, actually, like, great friends.
yeah,
People that I trust as people, so I can trust them with the art, and it was just a good show. My abuela came, my mom was there, um, and I had written that I wanted to play Mercury Lounge in my notes app, like, 2 years before, and then the opportunity kinda, like, came to me, and I just didn't think it would happen like that. And I know it's not, like, Barclays Center or anything, but it was a big deal because it's like it's always feels like it's proving to, like, whatever, like, standard is
hmm,
set within myself that there are no rules to this, and I can be countercultural in my, like, existence, so, like,
yeah,
I'm gonna play this show even though I don't have, like, 100K followers, and, like, there's a community here that matters, and I have their ears, so I'm gonna do it, and it just felt really, really good.
oh, that's so freeing.
So freeing.
I love that.
It was so good.
And you're manifesting it. You're making it happen.
Yeah, sometimes I'll, like, go to a concert. I did this a lot, like, the past 3 years, but, like, I'd be in spaces, and then I would just, like, be like, "I'm gonna play here one day,"
Yeah,
and it's in my notes app, and I feel it strongly. I don't
that's
know
awesome.
when, but for sure.
Okay, so what's next on the horizon for you musically? What are you excited about?
I just finished filming a music video,
Oh, nice.
for my next single. Got a lot of music recorded.
What's the next single?
It's called Abrasive.
And when's that coming out?
That's such a good question. I'm gonna say in a month or 2. Right now I'm getting organized. which is new for me. I have ADHD and dropped out of college, so, like, the organizing aspect of being an artist is always a little scary for me,
Yeah,
but people are helping me, friends, part of the community, and that's it, like, just creating the master plan of all the visions that I have, getting ready to execute them, certain ones that I need others to help execute them, but, like, being clear on what it is that I'm doing. Um, yeah, just a lot of music in the works and playing live shows and
that's awesome.
being a tia. I have 6 nieces and nephews,
Wow,
so that
that's awesome.
yeah.
Well, we can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us today, and so stoked to have you.
Thank you, thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Yeah.